Hey everyone, I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're diving into the AFE MachForce XP Catback exhaust system available for the 2015 and 2016 5.7 Challengers at home. Now, you should consider the AFE MachForce if you like an absolute premium system as far as build and materials are concerned, and one that is packing a very unique design that contributes to a wild tone. Lots to cover here with this system, so let's just jump right in. All right, first up guys, let's just dive right into the sound clips you can expect here with the MachForce XP bolted up. And as I just mentioned, this system sounds really good, man. And honestly, quite different from some of your other catbacks in the category due to the unique crossover design. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but first up, let's talk volume. Absolutely there, right? You heard it with our sound clips. But at the same time, it's got kind of an exotic tone to it, which I know sounds a bit crazy for the 5.7, but that's what I'm hearing. And again, I attribute it to the unique design of this exhaust. So breaking out my patented Wake the Neighbor scale, I'm gonna go healthy 3 out of 5 here on my 1 to 5 or 1 to Wake the Neighbor scale. Again, volume certainly not the issue here, as you are getting plenty of it. Now, on top of that volume and the unique tone, I feel like the dual crossover design here of the AFE system contributes to a slightly quieter experience inside the car. Listen guys, it's not silent at the end of the day, there's no doubt about that, but to me, it's gonna be a bit better while cruising when compared to other category screamers like the Outlaw from Flowmaster, for instance, which is just gonna be loud all the damn time. Let's move into construction and materials, and the big reason, again, this system is so unique when compared to others in the category is that dual crossover pipe design that I've been talking about throughout the entire video. Let's break it down. Coming down off your manifold, you come into more of a traditional true X pipe design. Typically, that's gonna add a little bit more rasp, a little bit more snarl to the tone of your exhaust. But moving further downstream, you get into the muffler portion of the AFE, and you'll notice this tube right here. This is gonna connect this muffler portion to the other muffler portion, and that's gonna act as a secondary crossover or balance tube, as AFE calls it. And that's really going to equalize those exhaust pulses and contribute to that different tone. Now, of course, there's more to the crossover pipes than just tone overall. Can't forget about your high flow mufflers from AFE here. They're finished off in a natural finish, of course. And again, the system is going to utilize your factory tips. So don't expect any aftermarket tips with this system. Instead, you're just gonna use your stock stuff. Might be nice for you guys out there that kind of is the less is more crowd as far as appearance is concerned. And ultimately that will keep more of a stock style look. Always like to point out here, guys, premium materials throughout. Again, 304 grade stainless we talked about. The system has been designed and built right here in the USA. And AFE, we know them, we've worked with them over the years, and they continually produce some really killer stuff. Now getting into the price point segment, and this particular AFE MachForce system is going to land right around that $1,650 ballpark, which is certainly getting into, I would call it the upper middle or middle upper area of the price spectrum. However you slice it, it's certainly not the most budget friendly option in the category. Now that being said, it's still gonna be a good bit more affordable when compared to the absolute kind of cream of the crop systems in the category from someone like Corsa or Borla, which might even get above that $2,000 mark here. You're still getting the same level of craftsmanship, materials, I would say, with those more expensive systems, in addition to the very unique crossover pipe design. So at the end of the day, I'd always recommend you to check out the rest of the systems in the site, listen to the sound clips, because we tend to have a lot of sound clips for some of the top systems here, and that will help you make your decision at the end of the day. All right, let's move into the install here to wrap up the video, guys. And because a majority of your job is done underneath the car, the site's gonna kind of lean into that middle of the road, 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you in the ballpark of 2 hours to complete from start to finish. But now, throw it out to the guys in the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown. Check it out.
For this install, you will need an impact, a ratchet, extension, 13mm swivel socket, 15mm socket, 15mm ratcheting wrench, hanger removal tool, dead blow mallet, and some lubricant. Also not shown here is pole jacks or jack and jack stands. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing exhaust on our Challenger, so let's get started. So we're going to start things off by grabbing some lubricant and spraying down our middle hangers here, as well as our AccuSeal clamps up at our H-pipe. This is just going to help things come off a little bit smoother, especially if your factory system has been on for a while. And we also live in the Northeast, which tends to get salty and rusty, so lubricant never hurts. So we'll go ahead and spray these down real quick. We'll get our clamps over here. So now we've got pole jacks underneath the rear of our system here. That's going to give us some extra support. And what we're going to do is come to our muffler section, and we're going to remove the isolator and hanger all as one assembly. So there's 2 13mm bolts up here under our chassis. Kind of hard to see, but they're pretty much straight up above from your mufflers. So we'll grab our 13mm socket and extension on our impact and go ahead and get those off. Now we can go ahead and do the same thing for our other muffler. Next, we can go ahead and come back to these hangers that we sprayed down with our lubricant previously and grab our hanger removal tool. Go ahead and pop these hangers out of their isolators. Go ahead and pop that out. Then we can go ahead and do the same thing for our other hanger. So now that we have everything else undone, we can come to our mid pipe here and undo those clamps with our 15mm socket on our impact. Then we're going to move our pole jacks out of the way while we have an extra set of hands to support the rear of the exhaust, but we can pull this down in one assembly. So we're going to need to swap over a few things from our factory setup to our new exhaust, and one of those being our rear hanger isolator here. Also, this system utilizes the same factory tips, so we're going to go ahead and pop those off. So to get our rear isolator off, we'll go ahead and grab our hanger removal tool. Just pop this off real quick. Get that off. Then for our tip, we're going to use our 13mm swivel socket and extension on our impact. Just lift up here and unbolt our clamp. So once our clamp is loosened up, we can go ahead and wiggle our tip free. So your tips on your factory system tend to get seized up on here, especially if they've been on for a while. So you may need to take a soft blow mallet and tap on the backside here to kind of get it to come loose. So once you give that a few taps, you should be able to just wiggle your tip right off. Then you can go ahead and repeat the same process for the other side. So the way this system is designed, it has a crossover tube on the over axle essentially sections, which is going to make it a lot more difficult to go ahead and put it on piece by piece. So what we're going to do is essentially the same as how the factory one came off in one piece. We're going to assemble this completely on the floor and then go ahead and install it on the vehicle in one piece. So first we'll go ahead and put our factory isolators that we took off of our other system onto the end of this one. Now you will notice that the end hangers on this system face 90 degrees different than your factory setup, which is okay. The only thing you'll need to do is either bend down this locator tab or cut it off, whichever is your preference. You can use a adjustable wrench or a hammer on a flat surface and bend that down. For demonstration purposes, we're not going to be cutting ours off, but it won't affect functionality to do so. So we'll go ahead and do that for both sides first. Next, we'll go ahead and get our crossover pipe in place. So what we're going to do first is grab two of our provided clamps, slide those over each side of our slip joints here, and we'll go ahead and get these on. Okay. Then after we're done with that, we can move on to our X-pipe. Now for our X-pipe again, we want to grab our two clamps, slide those over our slip joints here. Then we can take our X-pipe, go ahead and get that into the mid-pipe section. Now you may need to adjust your slip joint, that's why we're leaving it loose. Go ahead and get this seated. Now before we get this on, we're going to go ahead and put a little lubricant on our hanger rods here on our new setup. This just always makes for an easier install. Definitely way more convenient. Now we're not going to fully tighten anything down just yet, but we are going to snug our clamps down enough to where the system doesn't really flex or move, to make it a lot easier to go ahead and throw up in the car. So we'll go ahead and grab our 15 mil socket on our impact and just snug these down enough to where it doesn't move. Now we're going to keep these clamps facing downward for easier access to the vehicle. Do the same for the other side. So one last thing we're going to do before we throw our new setup on is grab our provided 2.5 inch clamps. Go ahead and slip those over our factory section here. This is just going to make things a lot easier once we get it up into place. So now I've got myself an extra set of hands to go ahead and get our system up in the air and get our X-pipe attached to the factory section of our exhaust. And then we'll go ahead and hang the middle set of hangers, and that'll keep the exhaust in place enough to go ahead and get the rear buttoned up. Now we'll go ahead and get our middle hangers on. Now we have both hangers secure. We'll grab our swivel socket and our extension. Go ahead and let that help us get this into place. Now that we've got this started, we'll go ahead and run that in with our impact. Then we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we can go ahead and grab a 15 mil ratcheting wrench and start rotating our clamps to be more accessible. So now we can go ahead and start tightening all of our clamps down with our 15 mil socket on our impact. And one thing to note here, you don't want to put your clamps in a spot where they're going to rub up against your chassis and cause a rattle or anything annoying. That's the worst thing for you. So now we're going to go ahead and get our tips in place. So we've got our provided clamp over our ball flare here at the end. Then we're going to take our factory tip. We'll get that on. We'll slide our clamp over our tip and our ball flare. Then we'll get it lined up to where we want it. And then we'll go ahead and grab our 13 mil swivel socket and extension on our impact and tighten these down. Now we'll go ahead and use our 13 mil swivel socket and extension on our impact to go ahead and tighten this down. Then we can go ahead and repeat the same step for the other side. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our AFE Mach Force XP 3-inch catback exhaust for your 15 to 16 5.7 liter Hemi Challenger. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Challenger, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.